LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, how are you? How are things going? How is the world turning for you on this lovely Monday? Yeah, just in case you did not know, it is Monday, September the 19th of 2022, day 262nd of the year, and only 103 days left to go. Yeah, that's what's going on. Yep, that's the reality of the situation. That is what's happening right now. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
Radio Big.
Oh, yes, hanging out with our friends at Radio Big.FM. So with that being said, how are things in your neck of the woods? Did you have a fantastic weekend? Did you get to do the things that you wanted to do? And if you did, were you able to brag about them? Okay, maybe that was a little bit too much at the end, but you get the point. You get what we're talking about. You get what we're doing. You get the hangout and all that fun stuff all together. So anyways, so with that being said, I think it is time for us to talk a little bit about the things that are going on inside of the world of the trends.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, hold on. Rated R Safety Show. This is what was trending. I wish it was, but I don't think it is. So there you go. So let's talk. On Saturday was Batman Day. Yeah, Batman Day all day Saturday. So hopefully you were able to dress up as the Crepe Crusader and do the things that you wanted to do under that thing. What else was going on? Let's see. Chromatic Ball Miami was trending on Saturday after Lady Gaga was forced to end her concert early due to a storm that hit the area. Could you imagine that? You finally make it to a concert that you want to go to, and voila. All of a sudden, it has to be stopped because something major is going on with the weather. I know it sucks, but it is definitely something to talk about. Anyways, Pat Sajak was trending on Sunday after Twitter users slammed the Wheel of Fortune host for taking a photo of Georgia Congresswoman Majority Taylor Greene. So does that mean that he took a picture with? Maybe that's what they meant to say. So there you go. Anyways, I'll give you the breakdown of this because I think it's important to talk about. The funeral of Queen Elizabeth II begins at 11 a.m. British Standard Time on Monday, September the 19th, or 5 a.m. Central. So let's think about that. 5 a.m. Central means that this is in the past, that this occurred, or at least it started. But I at least we're in the show and we're able to talk about it. So that's what's going on right there. Her casket was taken into the early hours of the Westminster Hall to nearby Westminster Abbey on the same gun carriage used for the funerals of George V, George VI, Queen Victoria, and Winston Churchill. London Heathrow, often the busiest airport in the world, will stop all departures and landings for half an hour in order to ensure quiet during a nationwide 2 minutes of silence. The committal service for the St. George Chapel of Windsor Chapel is scheduled for 4 p.m. BST or 10 a.m. Central. So that is future, just in case, if you're trying to figure out the whole mess there on what we have going on and we're talking about. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on today. So you will probably be seeing a lot of things inside of the interwebs today related to this information as we are talking. So if you're not familiar with the show, let me kind of give you some highlights if we can. If you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process. Go to callinradio.com. That will get you into our little virtual system, virtual boxes there, and we're able to interact and do the things that we do there. If you want to see the visual side of the show, we are on certain platforms of social media, so that does occur. And then the other side of the equation would be this. You could go to safetyfm.com safetyfm.com/, yes, that would be /visual radio, or just go to safetyfm.com and click on visual radio. We are a radio show first, and then everything else after that is, I guess, the way that we would need to take a look and a gander at the stuff that is going on there. So just some stuff to think about as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, we talk about safety, we talk about the news, we talk about news and safety, and then try to package the whole thing together and go from there. Anyways, with that being said, I think it might be time to do the things that we do here, as we call them the news. So maybe we should bring in some pro reporters and let them do their gig. So here you go.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Trey Thomas. The funeral for Queen Elizabeth gets underway soon. More than 2,000 people are expected to attend the event at Westminster Abbey in central London. Mourners continue to file by as the late monarch's 8 grandchildren stood guard over her coffin.
Unbelievable, just something that you couldn't imagine and tell someone unless they've experienced it. Just too beautiful for words, to be honest. Yeah, beautiful.
The Queen passed away earlier this month at the age of 96. She reigned for 7 decades. President Biden is declaring an end to the COVID health emergency after 2.5 years. Appearing on CBS's 60 Minutes, Biden said the pandemic is over. He did acknowledge that the U.S. still has a problem with the virus that has killed over 1 million Americans. Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S. says the hundreds found dead in a mass grave show clear signs of torture.
It's tortures, rapes, killings, war crimes of massive proportions.
Appearing on ABC's This Week, Ambassador Oksana Markarova said this latest discovery is just more evidence of Russia committing war crimes in the country. She noted entire families were found among the victims. The governor of Puerto Rico says the impacts of Hurricane Fiona will continue through today. The hurricane made landfall Sunday afternoon. Governor Pedro Pierluisi said the storm came directly for the island. The National Hurricane Center said maximum sustained winds were clocked at 85 miles per hour, and the entire island lost power. You're listening to NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Windsor, I'm Ollie Barrett. Hundreds of thousands have gathered in London and Windsor for the funeral, committal service and burial of Queen Elizabeth II. Hundreds of world leaders and dignitaries are in London for the day's events. One of Russia's most famous singers, Alla Pugachev, has condemned the war in Ukraine, and Puerto Rico is largely without power after Hurricane Fiona, a Category 1 storm, hit the island.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Representative Henry Cuellar says busing migrants to sanctuary cities doesn't solve problems at the border.
By sending off folks off to New York and Chicago, it does bring attention, but we want to focus more on solutions.
Appearing on CBS's Face the Nation, the Texas Democrat stressed the importance of solutions instead of using migrants as political pawns for publicity. He pointed to more support for law enforcement as key in enhancing border security. SpaceX is breaking a string of rocket launch delays. The private space exploration company launched more than 50 Starlink satellites from Cape Canaveral Sunday evening. The successful launch comes after SpaceX called off every launch attempt since Tuesday. SpaceX's Starlink mission is creating a global network of satellites to provide high-speed internet access. President Biden is sharing his thoughts on the legacy of Queen Elizabeth.
She was the same in person as her image. Decent, honorable, and all about service.
Biden spoke briefly about spending time with the late monarch after signing a condolence book. He and the First Lady are in London to attend Queen Elizabeth's state funeral. It's set for Monday in historic Westminster Abbey. The Queen passed away earlier this month at the age of 96. The manager for rapper Ludacris is being charged with murder following a fatal shooting in Atlanta, Georgia. Shaka Zulu says back in June, he was confronted outside a restaurant by several guys who shoved him to the ground and began hitting and kicking him. One of the men shot him in the chest, and he reacted by pulling out a gun and fatally shooting back at the assailant. Zulu claims he acted in self-defense. You're listening to NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
The Work Y Summit is an interactive 2-day gathering that will bring like-hearted leaders together like never before as we discuss ways to better align HR, safety, and operations around one common goal: creating the future of work together. Day 1 will focus on self-performance with talks with leading experts on how to live and lead at our best. Day 2 will focus on organizational performance with discussions on what we can do together to break down silos and foster action. The Work Summit will take place at Coker Tire Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee on Thursday, September the 22nd and Friday, September the 23rd. For more information, go to workzbe.com/Y Summits. That's WORKZBE.com Y Summit.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large Gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
Hey
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Monday. Oh, yes, it's so lovely that it's a Monday out there. Anyways, let's get into it. Like I said, 16 minutes past. Let's get moving and grooving to what is hitting on the top of the hit list, because I think that that's part of the reason why you're here, to hear the hit list, for us to talk about what's going on, sometimes being also deemed as the shit list. So there you go. Anyways, Bloomberg Billionaire Index has shaken up the list of the world's richest people. Gautam Adani investments in the company surged this year, adding more than $70 billion in net worth to the start of the year. That puts him at number 2 on the list and pushes Jeff Bezos into number 3 by a mere paltry, basically, inconsequentially $19 million. Elon Musk is still number 1 despite losing more than $6 billion in net worth so far this year. Pirate compared to the $45.5 billion that Bezos lost so far this year. I mean, think about that real quick. Some of us out there lose a couple $100,000 or less and think it's a huge thing. These guys are losing $6 billion, $45.5 billion, and talking about it like it's nothing. I mean, let's just give some perspective there. Anyways, in some other news, Puerto Rico experienced the island's wide blackout on Sunday as Hurricane Fiona pummeled the country with rains and winds. In September of 2017, Hurricane Maria left much of Puerto Rico without power for months, and officials are reassuring residents it won't be the same this time around, with better infrastructure and lessons learned. So there you go. I'll tell you, I have family in Puerto Rico, and it was interesting because yesterday, you know, with the interaction of everything going on, it was the whole thing about how bad they were saying that it was, and I'm getting pictures on certain areas it wasn't terrible, but electricity was already out at the very beginning stages of it, so it made it pretty interesting to take a look around on what was going on for sure. Take a listen to this. Jackie Robinson glove worn during the 2 seasons of his career is headed to auction. The Wilson glove still has a Robinson's jersey number of 42 written on it by marker or with a marker, or somehow maybe it was just marked up. Inspectors say it does not appear the glove has been relaced, adding to the authenticity. Some estimate that the actual glove will go up to $750,000 in auction. Yeah, $750,000. There you go. That's really committed to having a glove when you say, I'm going to pay $750 for it. I mean, you can buy a couple of homes, maybe even more than that, if you start taking a look around there, for sure. I mean, what the hell would you do with a $750,000 glove? You know, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about how there's a market for everything. And I'm being serious when I say this. And I will tell you, I tend to watch the show called Shark Tank, and I remember there was a guy that came onto the show just for the sole purpose of selling little pictures of him doing cat drawings for people. And I was like, hey, look, there truly is a market for everything.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. Conservationists that begun the effort to reintroduce wild cheetahs to India. The big cats were declared extinct on the subcontinent back in 1952. On Friday, 5 females and 3 male cheetahs were flown into India to a 285 square mile Kuno National Park. For now, the goal is to build the population in protected areas and continue to introduce 50 or more animals from abroad over the coming years. So there you go. I guess if you say, hey, certain things are not working out and I want to make them work, I'm just going to force them to happen. So there you go. I guess that's kind of the world of the equation on how it does work altogether. Anyways, with that being said, I think it's time to bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us about what the hell is going on inside of the market.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, September 16th, 2022. Equity slipped again Thursday with the S&P 500 falling more than 1% at the close of the session. The move, driven by a growing fear the U.S. economy has been broken and will result in serious recession over the next year or so. The day's move took the S&P 500 to the lowest level in 2 weeks and has it on track to move even lower in the coming days. Next week, the market will be on high alert for housing data in the form of housing starts and permits and existing home sales, as well as the index of leading indicators. The latest housing data suggests a 30% year-over-year decline in housing activity, and there is a chance the figure could grow with the August data. As far as the leading indicators go, the index has been running negative for 4 consecutive months and is expected to show another decline in U.S. economic activity. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for that. Currently 21 minutes past the top of the hour. Let me give you a little bit more of a breakdown of some of the stuff that I was able to find. The Dow lost about 139 points on Friday to close at 30,822. The S&P was down about 28 points to close at 3,873. And the NASDAQ lost about 103 points to close at 11,448. West Texas Intermediate fell to $85 a barrel on Friday, while Brent crude closed at $91 a barrel. The national average of a price of a gallon of gas was at $3.67. Bitcoin slid by $400 on Sunday, trading at $19,700. There was 1,992 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Sunday, and 287 such cancellations. So there you go, some stuff going on inside of there if you wanted to take a look around and take a look at what was happening. Anyways, with that being said, we are coming out of the weekend, so maybe it is time to talk a little bit about what the hell was going on inside of the world of the movies. So let's talk from the top 10, from number 10 to number 1. The number 10 spot was Moonage Daydream. Yes, Moonage Daydream with $1.2 million. And number 9 was Minions: The Rise of Gru with $1.3 million. And number 8 was The Invitation at $1.7 million. At number 7, DC League of Super Pets, $2.1 million. At number 6 was Top Gun Maverick with $2.2 million. At number 5, Bullet Train with $2.5 million. See How They Run with $3.1 million. At number 3 was Pearl with $1.2 million. At number 2 was Barbarian at $6.3 million. And at the number 1 spot, according to what the hell was going on inside of the world of the movies, was The Woman King with $19 million. You know, I have to tell you, I tend to want to see a lot of movies and try to be involved on what the hell is going on. And I will tell you, I am not familiar with a good chunk of these movies that are being listed out there. So just a little FYI action there. Anyways, the governor of Puerto Rico says that the impact of the hurricane will continue through at least today. Trey Thomas has some more info.
The hurricane made landfall Sunday afternoon. Governor Pedro Pierluisi said the storm came directly for the island. The National Hurricane Center said maximum sustained winds were clocked at 85 miles per hour, and the entire island lost power. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, so think about that. It's a 35 by 100 mile island on the way that it works. So it is it's a small but a highly impacted section all at the same time, too, as we are talking. Take a listen to this. I'll mention this real quick. A Colorado Springs organization is hoping to help the community after hosting a race for suicide awareness over the weekend. Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention Partnership Executive Director Cassandra Walton explains reasons why people participated in any way they could to help raise funds and support for the mission.
On their bibs, it says, why I race. And some people are running in the memory of someone they lost to suicide. Some people are running for someone who's struggling with thoughts of suicide. And some people are running just to support suicide prevention.
The Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention Partnership held the event in El Pomar Sports Park on Sunday, encouraging community members to run, walk, or even crawl. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death in Colorado. Walton says the organization wants to increase awareness, provide education, and connect with those needing resources. So there you go. That's some information on what is going on inside of there. Should we do it? Let's do it. Let's do a tech roundup minute. I think we got some time for that. Let's do it right now.
SpaceX is breaking a string of rocket launch delays. The private space exploration company launched more than 50 Starlink satellites from Cape Canaveral Sunday evening. PayPal is threatening to sever ties with the Phoenix Suns if owner Robert Sarver remains affiliated with the franchise. The company is the official jersey sponsor of the team. Sarver received a 1-year suspension and $10 million fine for inappropriate comments. NBC News reports that a federal appeals court upheld a Texas law Friday that makes it illegal for large social media companies to ban or censor users based on their viewpoints. A first trailer is being released for the true crime Netflix series about serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. The series will follow the real-life story of the man who murdered 17 men and boys from 1978 to 1991. That's your tech report. Trey Thomas, NBC News Radio.
Wow, I didn't realize that movies fell into the tech report now, but hey, I guess whatever happens, that's for sure, as we are talking. Anyways, let's get into some other news. The third gun buyback from Grand Rapids Police has taken another 50 guns off the community streets, bringing it to the total of 317 guns this year. The Safe Task formed for Mariana Barrera Young says that they also gave guns locks out to people.
The point of this event is to stop some of the violence, stop people from dying from suicide with guns. Suicidal, by the time you're trying to take a lock off of a gun, it gives enough time to think about, do you really want to do this?
Over 360 guns have been seized by police so far this year. The task force was funded by the buyback program with $40,000 in contributions. So there you go. Anyways, let's get into some other news coming out of Michigan as well. 4 people are recovering after they were shot on early Sunday morning on the campus party near Grand Valley State University in Allendale. 2 of the injured are GFSU students. Were Brendan Butler. Take a look at this.
We all got on the ground and crawled to the basement. Turn the lights off, lock the doors.
Residents on Canvas townhouses where shooting happened say that the police are not doing enough to protect the people and say that there were several parties happening on Saturday night into Sunday morning. As many as 60 people were at the parties. No arrests have been made. Joe Ernest says that the first thought are that the shooting outside of the apartments were video games where someone was just playing loudly.
After that, I run over to them, tell them to quiet the game down, and then we sort of just stay there for a minute, and then we hear some more, and then we all just hit the deck.
So a lot of stuff going on inside of there. Some other news coming out of Michigan. Residents in part of Detroit are frustrated by water main breaks that has been flooding the streets for the past week. William Batchelor notified the Detroit Water and Sewage Department and put up cones after getting not such a good response overall.
It keeps getting worse and worse here. And it starts bubbling and the street is cracked. When they go through there, that street stinks.
The DWSD says that it sent an inspector within hours but didn't make immediate action because no residents were out of service. Repairs will be made this week. William Batchelor is frustrated with the main water by his house being broken and flooding the street.
If I don't pay my taxes, they'll take my house from me. So I pay my taxes, and this is what I got to go through.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of there as we are talking. 3 pilots are dead after 2 planes crashed in midair on Saturday morning in Longmont.
Found one plane down the road, Niwot, just on the south side of Niwot, closer to 287.
The National Transportation Safety Board says that the Cessna and the Sonic Xenos collided after their flights merged. The Cessna departed on a training flight that morning. Neither aircraft was equipped with collision avoidance systems that would have alerted the pilots of the other aircraft in the area, and neither plane was in contact with air traffic control. The identities of those involved have still not been released. So some stuff going on right there. Anyways, Omaha's Henry Dooley Zoo and Aquarium announces the return of Ghouls and Glow. Julia Bertino has more info.
The special illuminated event will be held October 7th through the 9th, 14th through the 16th, and 21st through the 30th. The zoo says visitors will encounter dancing skeletons, jack-o'-lanterns, ghosts, a mummy band, and other friendly ghouls, along with 400 large lit lanterns. The zoo has added something new for parents, too. On Friday and Saturday nights, 2 bars will be available with seasonal alcoholic drinks. We have full details at kfab.com/news. I'm Julia Bertino.
Wow, she went into some very in-depth stuff on where you can get some additional news if you really wanted to. So there you go. Anyway, some other stuff coming out of Michigan. Apparently, we're doing the Michigan show today. A Southwest Detroit woman says that she wants the police to catch whoever shot up her home an above-ground swimming pool on Saturday night. Lisa Barton says the home security camera caught the shots fired at 7:30 p.m., draining about 14,000 gallons of water and making a dog run away. I guess there's no clip. So there you go. 4 bullets were found at the pool on Sunday morning and sighting into the house that had been replaced a few weeks ago earlier. Lisa Barton says that she has to replace the siding on her home a few weeks due after the shooting. So there you go. It's interesting because I see clips here, but nothing's playing, so I guess there's nothing there for us to talk about. Take a listen to this one real quick. A 10-year-old boy is dead in Arvada after being struck by a car while he was riding an electric scooter. One neighbor says the boy's family says it's normal thing to have him go out for rides.
Probably just went out to go hang out with some friends and ride around the neighborhood, and then
Arvada police say that
just didn't come home.
Well, sorry about that. Arvada police say that the boy that was struck by the car at Candelas Parkway in 93rd Drive just after 7:30 p.m. on Saturday evening, he died early Sunday morning from injuries. The drivers did stay on the same scene and was cooperative with the officers. No names have been released yet as the officials continue to investigate. Amber Lucero, a neighbor of the boy's family, says the mother of 3 says the traffic in the area at Arvada intersection is a problem.
We see cars flying up and down this block all times. Be more cautious, slow down.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. Anyways, I think it's time. It is 33 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's go ahead and do that thing that we normally do right around this time.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so main story time. I think it is time to start talking, and it's time to start doing and moving and grooving and all the fun stuff and all the jargon words, I guess, that I could use if you're so inclined for me to do that. But let's talk about some stuff going on today. Let's talk about some stuff that we probably have talked about, but that we should talk about more often. But when was the last time you started off a meeting with just saying yes? Now, nothing knowing, nothing moving around, nothing to know about, and you just said yes. Because I want you to think about this. You know, many years ago, Jim Carrey released a movie that was called Yes Man, and for, I think, a year time frame, if I remember correctly, he was going to say yes to everything just to see how different his life would be. And I know that we've spoken about this in this thing previously, because if you take a read to Simple Revolutionary Acts, the book written by Todd Conklin, you'll notice that there is some sections in there that talk about how you can do certain things that could help change your life. And he starts off with, there's a section in there where he starts off by saying, say yes to what is going on. And I want you to think about that for a moment. If you took a meeting and you were agreeable and non-confrontational when it came to certain aspects, and I mean, let's talk about within reason here, of course. Imagine how different the conversation would be. And I'm not saying, hey, somebody comes in and says, I need a pay hike, and all of a sudden you're giving them a pay raise, and all of a sudden they dupe you by 3 or 4 times the salary. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about being agreeable when it comes to certain aspects where people would think that you would normally argue. Doesn't necessarily mean that you agree, but it necessarily can change the way that things go. Because listen, there's some times inside of our lifetime where people say that safety is so difficult with some of the stuff that we do, that safety is so difficult with some of the things that are happening. And imagine if we said to that question, yes. Could you imagine the shock on the other person? And you could explain later on that you can agree it does make things difficult, but there is a purpose behind it, opposed to it just being one of those jibber-jabber type of things where it serves no value. So that's part of the things that I think about as we are hanging. Also, on the other side of the equation, I think about some of the stuff that happens day in and day out with the work that we do. On what can we be agreeable with even though we don't agree 100%? What if things change by us starting off with the yes? How would things look different in regards of work relationships? How would things look different in regards of the things that happen day in and day out in our workplace? Seriously, there's so much that comes to mind when that conversation comes about. Because at the end of the day, what we are looking for is to let people know that we are there for them, especially when it comes to the work that we do. Because the work that we do, I always look at it this way. We are not an area that generates money. If you put it down in the books and how it looks, it is a cost center, not a profit center. And I mean that with the best intentions. Listen, I know that you could have saved your company $1 billion. You could have saved them several $1 million. But here's what happens. There is no way to show that. There is no way to show that. Just because you put ideas out there does not necessarily mean that they're going to know how you were able to assist them. So imagine going into the yes scenario and explaining that, yes, you understand that sometimes your job makes things difficult for others, but it's also to make them be safe. Boy, would that be a different aspect on how people will look at things. That's something to think about. That is for sure.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things is mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding, Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking truth.
Oh, there you go. 44 minutes past the top of the hour. This is Hello Stranger by Kid Penny. Thank you for Kid Penny for allowing us to play this here. The song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. This still is the Rated R Safety Show. Doing the groove and the move of the things that we do around here.
Hello, stranger.
Okay, there you go. So let's get back into some of the stuff that we have going on this lovely Monday, because a lot of stuff is going on as we are speaking, moving, and grooving. Anyways, it is that time of the show where I get to tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in this lifetime, and that's about my friends at the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and the best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. There's a chat box right there on their website if you want to chat with somebody right there. If you prefer to do the voice-to-voice method, you could do that by calling 988 off your cell phone. Or the other option is texting the word TALK to 988, and that will get everything moving and grooving for you, as that will start the whole process. Listen, they're there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The other good, lovely part about it is there are people that understand what's going on. You can have a conversation with them. It will be private for you in regards of what is going on. And listen, there are times in life that we struggle with mental health, that we struggle with the day-to-day, and it's understood. And it's stuff that we need to talk about. And listen, the people can give you jargon, and people can give you all these words and all this fanciness of, well, think about it in this fashion. Think about it now. Think about it that if you need help, that there are people out there that you can talk to. That's the important part. Always remember that, because that's going to be the most important part, because we want to make sure that everybody gets to play their part. And the most important part to be able to play is yours. Yeah, because you get to do it. And nobody can replace what you're doing. That is for sure. So let's get into some more talking points here and some things that are going on inside of the world. So do nothing and get stuff done. Yeah, that doesn't sound right as I say that out loud, but let's talk about it real quick. It's Monday again, and you're once again dreading that whole thing about dragging yourself through another work week and possibly, what are you going to accomplish in all the tasks that you have on your must-do list? And here are some things to consider. Being you that your most productive self doesn't necessarily mean doing more, according to a new book. Celeste Hadley, a journalist, radio host, and author of Do Nothing, How to Break Away from the Overworking, Overdoing, and Under-Delivering, says that there are much that you can do on a schedule into a busy day, and trying to work more ends up than is counterproductive. At the point of doing nothing at all is actually going to help you produce more. To not reach that point, she suggests avoiding unnecessary screen time, which allows your brain to rest, adding to your productivity later, and that includes minimizing your social media, in which she calls addictive and exhausting. But social media is exactly how I do nothing. So maybe that's something to consider. And I thought that the boss was only one around here who can do nothing and get stuff done. So I don't know, some stuff to think about there. That is for sure. So what do you think about it? Is it something that you would consider doing nothing to be more productive? It's kind of a twist on words, better saying, in regards to what we're talking about. I mean, think about it for a moment. If you did nothing, how would you produce? How would you be a producer and be able to move forward on things that are going on? I don't know. It's a lot of stuff to think about as we are talking. That is for sure. Anyways, let's talk about some things that are going on inside of the world of the news. California is not stopping with fossil fuels for cars. Officials now want to mandate trucks free of diesel. Take a listen to this.
And the state wants to do it by the year 2040. New big rigs and other trucks will have to be zero emissions by then under a proposed regulation unveiled by the California Air Resources Board. In addition, large trucking companies would have to gradually convert their existing fleets to zero-emission vehicles, buying more over time until all are zero emissions by 2042. The board will talk about it at a meeting late next month. I'm Phil Farrar.
Okay, thanks, Phil, for that information right there. Take a listen to this. Fire officials have announced their findings of what started Queens house fire that killed an 8-year-old girl last week. Take a listen to this report.
The fire happened Saturday morning in College Point, where 8-year-old Stephanie Torres died of smoke inhalation. It was announced the cause of that fire was the charging of a lithium-ion battery-powered scooter that belonged to Torres' sibling. The fire adds to the growing list of battery-caused fires in New York City this year. The FDNY says over 60 fires were sparked by lithium-ion batteries in the first 6 months of the year, which have caused at least 6 deaths. Jonathan O'Halloran, NBC News Radio, New York.
You know, it's interesting because we've heard on several times on lithium-ion batteries not being able to hold a charge. And, of course, there were some things a few years ago with some cell phones that were exploding. And the scooter thing we've seen off and on, just depending on the category, on what is going on there. So it makes you probably question some things on what is going on there for sure. Anyways, take a listen to this. Post Malone is apologizing to fans after cutting his Missouri show short. He took to Twitter to issue an apology and said that that he'd make it up to St. Louis fans with a 2-hour show. During his Saturday night performance, he took a hard fall after stepping into an uncovered hole on the floor. Malone laid there for several minutes, clutching his ribs while medics rushed to his side. He took a break but promised his fans that he'd keep the performance going. However, he did end up cutting his performance short. He also let fans know that he was given pain medication and that he feels good enough to keep the current tour going. So here's my question, because I'm not familiar with this. This is like the second concert very shortly where people have cut them short. And then, of course, we heard earlier about Lady Gaga. What happens? Do you get a money refund? Do they give you like a rainy day ticket type of thing? Or do you just kind of go, you're SOL and good luck next time? I mean, I don't know. But it's kind of a rough one, because if you paid some hard dollars there to get this stuff going, what the hell happens? That's what people want to know. That is for sure.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, with that being said, let's get it moving and grooving, and let's bring John Small inside of here and talk about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Jennifer. It's not actually a quote today, but more of a great observation. A bottle of water at a warehouse store is 25 cents. The same bottle at a supermarket is about 50 cents. That same bottle at a bar is $2. How about a good restaurant or a hotel? It's maybe $3. Now, in an airport or on an airplane, that exact same bottle of water is probably $5 or more. The bottle and the brand is exactly the same. The only thing that changes is the place. Each place gives a different value to the same product. When you feel like you're not worth much and everyone around you belittles you, change places. Do not stay there. Have the courage to change places and go to a place where you're given the value you deserve. Surround yourself with people who really appreciate your worth. Don't settle for less. You are worth more. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlysaMorgan.com. You have heard about the importance of not eating at night and having your last meal or evening snack 3 hours before bedtime. It's important from standpoint of weight management, but it's also important for quality sleep. There are two primary reasons for that. First, if we eat close to bedtime, there may be a higher likelihood of getting acid reflux and digestive issues. The other reason is being mindful of core body temperature, and that's also why if you are too hungry to go to bed and must eat something, it's better to stay away from simple carbs, because carb consumption translates into increased energy and also increased body temperature from sugar calorie burning. And when you need to fall asleep, you need to drop your core body temperature by about 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's both to initiate sleep and to stay asleep. For more information, check out AlysaMorgan.com.
It's the show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
So there you go. A lot of stuff still going on. 54 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Monday. Anyways, let's talk real quick about some things that are going on inside of this particular world, because that's the world that we're currently in, and I don't really know of a lot of other ones. Anyways, no winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tuesday's drawing will be for $277 million jackpot or $149 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing either. Tonight's drawing will be for $238 million jackpot or $128.2 million payout. So there you go. If you want to play the game, you got times to do so, and always still a chance to do some things that are going on right there. Anyways, we want to take a look back at some things that happened back on this date. If I take a look around, and let's take a look back in 1995, the New York Times and Washington Post published the Unabomber's 35,000-word manifesto. He promised more death if the newspaper didn't comply. Federal investigators actually approved the move. The thought increased the public awareness would help capture the terrorist. That happened back in 1995. So there you go. Anyways, some birthdays going on today. Trae Young turns 24. Pia Mia turns 26. DeJounte Murray, 26. Brent Fayez turns 27. Danielle Panabaker turns 35. Renee Young, 37. Eva Marie, 38. Allison Sweeney turns 46. Jimmy Fallon, 48. Santa Lethan turns 51. Tim Scott, 57. Trisha Yearwood, 58. Twiggy, the model that is, 73. Jeremy Irons turns 74 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those as well for you. Talk Like a Pirate Day and National Butterscotch Pudding Day. That sounds like something different. National Butterscotch Pudding. I guess that's something to take a bite of if you're so interested in doing so. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm for the next couple of hours and doing the things that we get to do over there. So if you want to come and hang out as we get to do the things over there, we'll listen to music, we'll talk about some entertainment news and all that kind of fun stuff. And of course, we are being distributed on iHeartRadio over there.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
So that gives you the option of taking a listen on the iHeartRadio app under the live station section. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are talking, moving, and grooving. Anyways, let's see. Do we want to do this real quick? Yeah, let's do it. President Biden is making headlines on a variety of topics after an interview on CBS 60 Minutes that aired on Sunday night. Trey Thomas has the details.
Biden said that while COVID is still a problem in the U.S., the pandemic is over. He also spoke about the FBI raid at former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that, I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
Biden also hinted he plans to run for re-election in 2024, but hasn't made a firm decision yet. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, so there you go. Some information on what was going on inside of there as we are talking. So, anyways, with that being said, let's continue because we almost got you out of here unless you're going to stick around. Of course, you can always stick it out here on, on this station, Safety FM, and keep a listen to what is going on inside of the world of safety, or you can just come over to Radio Big and taking a listen to what is going on inside of the music scene. Anyways, let me give you a random joke for today. I'm starting to think that the Kardashians have just been doing stuff just for attention. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What did you see your neighbors do that blew your mind? Oh, is this PG? No, I'm kidding. And then let's see. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. According to a survey, fewer than 20% of us use an alarm clock to wake up, and 3% of us admit that we use this instead. What is it? Our pets. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what the hell we have going on here today. Like I said, over to Radio Big at the top of the hour for the next couple hours or so, or you can keep it locked here on Safety FM. The choice is yours, of course. Always thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. There you go. That's something to think about. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, JM.